Hey, I'm Dirk-Bockel, Luxembourgish triathlete, Ironman, 33 years.
You say about the conditions, they vary differently, of course, in competition, but in Hawaii it must be a lot different.
Well, Hawaii is the absolute top of Ironman events. I mean, it's not just the course that is pretty tough. I mean, just doing an Ironman itself is pretty tough and crazy actually. But to do it in Hawaii with 35, 37 degrees Celsius and 92% humidity, you know, it's a torture, and it's not even flat. It's hilly, and on top of that, it's windy. So it's definitely a mix of everything you can have.
So how long would it take to acclimatize to the conditions?
They usually say it's around 2 weeks for heat adaptation, but we took it pretty serious and spent 3 months in the heat. And I think it really helped me, because I have to say the heat was not any problems for me during the race, and I think that's the most important thing, because I mean, obviously I do all the training for all the distances, but the heat itself, you know, how do you prepare in the heat?
Well, we talked about the off days that you have, and you still train on off days, so
that's correct.
They're not really off days.
Well, off day, we call it off day. It's supposed to be a rest day. It's a funny German expression which doesn't make sense if I translate it, but it says a minimal training day as an off day. So off day could be a 3K swim. You know, for a normal person that doesn't swim, you know, it's torture. It's actually a marathon kind of, you know, or it's a 45-minute jog and that's it. But it's like a good comparison would be a race car, you know. A race car always needs to keep going, and even if they have 1 minute break, you know, they don't switch off the engine. You know, you just keep the engine running, and so I think that's also what we have to do. It's called active recovery. I didn't know till the very end of the run, basically the second running portion after 20K on the run, I realized it's definitely doable. But my goal was being in the top 10, and once I announced that in the press before that this is my goal, people thought, you know, he's crazy. That's a little bit too much for the first time. I mean, a cyclist that does the Tour de France, you know, and you say you want to be top 10 in your first race, you know, that's a big deal. And well, swimming was good. I mean, I'm a very good swimmer, so I was spoiled in my position at the beginning. And on the bike, it was a group of 25 people, so I was up to third position at some point. I was at 21st at some position, so it's a kind of like a movement in the group. Even though the group is not a group, it's a very long stretch. And well, on the run I realized it's definitely possible, and I was actually running on 5th place for a while as well, and there were 2 top runners that came by at the end. But I mean, you know, I'm very happy. I mean, I see there's a lot of space for improvement, but for that one, let's deal with that.
Can you take us through the pre-competition training schedule? I know you mentioned...
How much time do you have?
Yeah. Well, perhaps in the week leading up to the race.
Okay, well, that's actually the tapering before the race. Serious training starts coming down after the last 2 weeks before the race. So the last week is basically the work is done. So whatever you do is like keeping the engine going, keeping the rhythm, the daily rhythm of getting up early, do your swim, you know, do something instead of just laying around. Because if your body is used to train 40 hours a week and suddenly you train 10 or 12 hours a week because you're tapering before the race, I don't think it makes much sense. And I found out for myself I'm better if I keep the flow going. Obviously I'm not biking 5-6 hours. I did a 5-hour bike ride and a week before the race, and everybody thought I'm crazy, but it was perfect for me because I just need my rhythm. But in terms of hours, it's around 16 to 18 hours the week before race. What I usually do is I try to cut off the carbohydrates at night. So I'll just give my body back what I need in order to recover and stay healthy. But I try to eat a lot of proteins at night just to slim down step by step. I don't want to, you know, I gain a couple of kilos over the winter, and slowly step by step, once I get in race shape, I want to have the perfect weight on race day, especially racing in the heat. You know, weight is a factor, but I'm able to bounce back every year. I don't have the big issues like Jan Ulrich used to have, you know, but I mean, I gained 12 kilograms at some point in time during the winter when I joined the army, which is normal because you build up different muscles and all that. But usually I gain 3 up to 5 kilos, and you know, as fast as I gain them, I lose them, and I just keep a very healthy diet in general.
What is the optimal weight then for you to go into competition?
Well, I mean, obviously for me it's different than for a lot of other people. Sure. For me personally, it's around 77.5 kilograms, which is body fat around 5% then at the end. So it's borderline of staying healthy, but you know, it's good for the sport. But obviously now I've been off training for 2 weeks, and I don't know how much I gained, but definitely quite a bit.
You probably still make most men feel uncomfortable based on those
well,
ratios.
I mean, I need to compare myself with people that do the same sport. I mean, we all, you know, there's a saying, if you look sick, you are fit. You know, that actually reflects the thinking of an athlete, and you know, you don't want to carry around extra weight, you know, and it hurts you on the run, and that's why. You know.
But now they've got talismans such as yourself and the Schleck brothers that maybe want to start, the children want to start following in your footsteps. What advice would you give to anybody wanting to take up this sport?
Good. I mean, as a triathlete, you don't want to start with Ironman. You know, it's a typical thing. Also, as a runner, you don't want to start with running a marathon. You start doing short distance, get the speed, get the motorical skills, get all the technique before. And I think it's very important not to have the ultimate goal of being an Ironman as quick as possible, but enjoying the sport and actually train each single discipline as if you are a swimmer or a biker or a runner. That's where you really learn the skills, and that's the necessity you need as a professional later on. It's great if people have the goal to be a professional. It's an amazing sport, and you know, if people have questions, I'm always, you know, I always want to help there.
A more political question: how are tour organisers dealing with the levels of doping that are happening in other sports that are linked to triathlon, particularly in cycling and in athletics?
Yeah, it's always a topic. Well, as an athlete, you always look at other people and see if they have the same controls that you have, and you have suspicions back and forth. But at the end of the day, you know, every athlete is responsible for whatever they do. If they have their controls, you know, if they fail, everybody points with the fingers on them and all that. And well, I don't really care what other people do. I race against the people. I try not to focus on that, because it's, you know, if you would focus on that, it's the wrong approach. I focus on me being clean, being as fast as possible, and beating all the other guys. So.